sense of panic coming from us. We got 16 more tries to do this thing. I'm moving on. I'm ready to go get that bad taste out of the team mouth and go get a win.
I wish I could pull off that look. Welcome back to another edition of Enough Said. My name is Dan Barreiro, joined as always by Justin Gaard and Lori Fisher, interestingly enough, not wearing purple this week. My God, it doesn't take much for you.
No purple.
Don't panic. I actually just ordered a dress, just waiting for it to arrive. Found one.
And
that'll be convenient.
Purple?
Yeah.
It's going to celebrate this weekend's win in Arizona. We'll celebrate next Friday night. How about that?
All right.
I'll write that down.
Is that a prediction?
We'll hold you accountable
It
for
is
that.
a prediction.
We'll hold you accountable.
The Vikings play the Cardinals, as I said, this Sunday on Fox 9. Last week, they lost in overtime, unfortunately, against the Bengals. A lot of penalties, a tough fumble. Coach Zimmer said the team shot themselves in the foot too many times, especially in the first half. What do they need to change on Sunday to win the game, Dan?
Stop shooting themselves in the foot?
That'd be helpful.
If you shoot yourselves in the foot a bunch of times, eventually you're going to die.
You don't have any feet.
And the Vikings died, at least in terms of losing the game. And what have we said from the beginning about this club? That it's all really offensively built around Dalvin Cook. That's what makes this thing go. He's very good. When he stays healthy, he's as good a running back as there is in the league. Takes the pressure off of a leaky offensive line as it pertains to pass protection.
That's a little kind.
And it takes a little bit of the pressure off your favorite quarterback, Kirk Cousins, as well. So what's the best way to render Dalvin Cook relatively irrelevant? It's 3rd and 12. It's 3rd and 17. And why is it 3rd and 12 and 3rd and 17?
Penalties.
Because holding penalties are ensuing. False start penalties are ensuing. So they effectively, through their own unprofessional performance, took the ball out of Dalvin Cook's hands, their best weapon. If that happens again this week, it's not even going to be close, I don't think.
And all of that being said, they still should have won the ball game because of Cincinnati's own ineptitudes, going for it on a 4th down that they didn't need to.
You love that 4th down call.
Vikings defense got some pressure, got some key sacks. They still should have won that game if not for the self-inflicted wound of Dalvin Cook fumbling or not fumbling. I give him credit for saying, doesn't matter if I agree with the refs or not. You got it. You can't drop the ball. The penalties were breathtaking. Even so much so the radio crew, not necessarily known for their savagery, couldn't believe what they were seeing. And that's what bothered me, was that it was sloppy. You use the word unprofessional. I think that's exactly right. And this isn't a team, as we've talked about for a year, that has a lot of margin for error. Whether it was in an individual game or one game within a season, they needed to win that game, right? I mean, if they were winning that game right now, they'd be in pole position in the NFC North because every other North team lost. That, I guess, is a saving grace. But they don't have margin for error to drop games like that, especially the way that they did it.
They're playing a better team this week, although it's a weird team. I mean, people are ready to pick Arizona to get to the Super Bowl because they steamrolled the Titans in Nashville. And maybe they're going to be that good. I think last year, in their 3rd game, they lost at home to the Detroit Lions. So this isn't not an unwinnable game.
No.
But you're going to have to play, obviously, at a higher level. You're going to have to make Dalvin the front and center guy again. And, you know, we talked last week about the defense. I think this defense this year has to be great. It was not great the first week.
No.
It was not awful, but it was spotty enough, and it gave up enough big plays that it's not. If it continues to play at that level, that's another reason that they're not going to go anywhere. And this is against a better offense with obviously a quarterback who is very slippery and very difficult to sack.
A miscue before the half that led to a touchdown, and then Cincinnati just went right down the field to start. I mean, that's where you really lose the ball game, right, in those 2 possessions, because it puts you under the microscope. Anthony Barr's out. Everson Griffin's out because of a car accident and a concussion, and Eric Kendricks might not play. Kendricks is the most important of that list, right? We know about Barr. We know about Griffin is what he is. Eric Kendricks is probably their best defender at this point, so to have him questionable now.
He's the heart and soul of the offense. And, again, what bugs me is, as you say, the season starts, and it's a long season, I get that, but you're playing a team that's not very good, and you gave them a chance to feel better about themselves.
And they did.
And they did, and they stole it. And so now you have to win to avoid going 0-2 with 2 tough opponents coming back here, Seattle and the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, here we go. Next up.
Sorry to get Lori going.
If they win, I'll wear the purple. If they don't, then, or maybe I should just do it either way.
Wear
and then
black
just
if they win. If they don't beat
dark
beat
purple
Arizona.
if they lose. It looks like black.
Next up, the Gopher football team hits the road after 2 home games to play the Colorado Buffaloes. Both teams are 1-1. The Gophers are 0-3 against Colorado. Keys to the game, Justin, you're going to be there.
Keys to the game would be develop a passing game, first of all. And I do think this one, in my mind, I'm envisioning it like the Purdue game of 2019, where if you remember, Gophers didn't look very impressive in the non-conference schedule, right? They barely got by Fresno. They barely got by Georgia Southern. They should have lost to South Dakota State game 1. The Purdue game changed everything. Tanner Morgan was 21 of 22 or something. They were throwing touchdowns all over the field. I'm not saying he's going to have that type of performance Saturday, but you're getting Chris Ottman-Bell back. You've got Dalen Wright back. You have basically you're as healthy as you've ever been, and I think that was intentional to maybe hold some guys out. But now they got to go do it. Now they got to put the ball in the hands of their experienced quarterback and their experienced wide receiver, Chris Ottman-Bell, who's I think going to be back because I think they're going to get enough out of the running game. But to me, they've got to be explosive. They've got to be explosive starting tomorrow.
That means you're asking them to open it up a lot.
I am.
Are they willing to?
I think they are.
Maybe
I think
they have
are.
to.
I think they are.
I don't want to see another running back run into the ground, by the way.
I agree.
37 carries last
34,
week.
yeah.
34, okay. You know me, I like to exaggerate. It's Trey Potts, right?
Yes.
You gotta give a little more relief in there.
Mix somebody in.
Here's added motivation for your club. I don't know if you've even thought of this, but put it this way: if the Gophers lose to a beatable Colorado team, they're not considered a great Colorado team. USC ain't gonna like that. Southern Cal people who run that and might be interested in PJ. I'm not sure that's going to help PJ's cause. So could that be a motivating factor for the club?
To keep the coach lay an egg?
That's the contradiction of it, is it ends up working against him. But
that is the other story of the week,
He's on the clock.
That is the other story of the week.
You think he's going to get distracted?
I don't think so.
I don't think he's at the top of their list.
I agree.
But I think he's in the mix.
I agree.
And it's a story that we're going to have to pursue and pay attention
There's
to.
not as many people need to tell him no, USC, to get to PJ Fleck, which I think people do need to realize.
A great point.
There's absolutely guys ahead of him in that pecking order that are more established, that are bigger names, that can deal with the USC life. But he's not that far down the list.
And much to the chagrin of some really hardcore Gopher fans that you and I both know, including one of them who's on the air with us every week on the radio, Pat Kessler, I think if USC approaches him, he's gone.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't rip him for that.
But I
think it's automatic that he's. That's a job. That's going to be too good a job for him to pass up. And it's always been viewed as one that he would be intrigued by.
Most people are.
Yeah.
I mean, most college coaches are leaving their job to go to USC, right?
That's correct.
Most of them. Now, the ones that might not are James Franklin, are Luke Fickell, are Thomas, from down south.
Right.
I don't know. But
do we need a pass rush? Now, Colorado likes to run also.
They're down to their third-string quarterback who can't throw very well.
Promised me that we're going to be better at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've been that much better at the line of scrimmage so far, have we?
Running game, yes. Passing game, no.
Right.
And that's a big one for tomorrow is make them throw because they don't want to do that.
Correct.
They should have scored more points against Texas A&M last week. They completely blew it. Colorado, I'm talking about. They were in the red zone.
Well, A&M though, didn't A&M lose their number one quarterback earlier too? So it wasn't like they blew a game against a great A&M team.
No, I think this is a big game. This is a very win. They need to win this game.
We call it pivotal in the business.
Pivotal's a good
one.
Pivotal.
You don't want to go to 1-2, and you got to win these kinds of games against recognizable opponents. But not great opponents.
Okay, let's move on.
9 a.m., by the way, for the Gopher pregame show if you want to watch.
Bob can't leave.
Yeah,
we have to keep rowing the boat.
Yeah.
Does he take the boat with him then if he leaves us?
There's a nice ocean. A lot of nice yacht clubs.
I want to get to the Timberwolves.
It'll be a yacht there, though. Marina Del Rey, I think, is the spot they'll anchor it.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. Well, I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen. We're just weeks away from the Timberwolves kicking off their preseason at the Target Center. It sounds like the roster's set, re-signing forward Jared Vanderbilt and guard Jordan McLaughlin. Newbie to the team, Patrick Beverly, seems confident that he can help the team get to the playoffs because he hasn't missed any, Dan.
Well,
it's his ultimate challenge, by the way.
I'm guessing he doesn't know what he's got himself into quite yet. Yeah, we hear this a lot of times from very naive, seasoned pros who think, I'll get there and I'll take care of everything. And then reality sets in and they go, what am I doing? What have I done with my life?
It's freezing here.
I hope he helps. He has a chance to help. Here's a question for you. What's going to be a bigger disappointment among our winter pro sports fans? Is it going to be Kaprizov not re-signing with the Wild, or the Wolves not getting Ben Simmons?
Yeah.
The one concern I have is there's been so much attention on, well, we're the logical team. Everybody else is backing away. We need him. We want him. We've got good ideas, and we're aggressive. That if they don't get Ben Simmons, there's going to be sort of like the air out of the tire kind of a syndrome going into the season. Now, how do you tell the difference between that and any other season here?
Yep.
I don't know. But that's what I pick up. That's what I sense, that it's being built up a little bit too much.
I agree. Now, to answer your question, for me, it would be Kaprizov.
It's got to be.
Because I think the Wild have a better opportunity
Yes.
to actually win a championship or
They're
at
in
least
better
make
position.
a run.
Absolutely.
100%. But not that far behind is Ben Simmons, and you're 100% right. We've operated, especially the last month or so, under the assumption that he's just going to show
matter
up
of
here.
time, yeah.
And he does. Whatever people think about him, I think he makes them a playoff team the second that he's here. I don't know how you feel about it.
I think it's currently constituted. I don't think they're a playoff team. He gives them a chance to be a playoff team.
Exactly,
I agree.
exactly.
Again, depending on what you have to give up.
Yeah, that's true. If you're giving up Anthony
Giving up
Edwards,
D'Angelo, I'm not sure they're a playoff team.
Okay.
To be honest, and I don't love D'Angelo.
Right.
But then you're back to who's going to play that position, and I don't think it's going to be Beverly.
But the swing of possible emotions is pretty wide, right? You're going to be in the mix in the West, or you're going to be what you're going to be, which is probably not a playoff team unless Ant makes a huge jump, Cat makes a big jump, the younger guys that you were able to re-sign that you like.
Yes.
They make big jumps, then you might be in the mix, but not nearly as guaranteeable as if Ben Simmons is here.
We're hearing a lot about we're going to see a different Cat. He's going to take care of his body more. He's obviously had some significant tragedy in his life. I'm very curious to see if there's a payoff on that, because that's the other element. He does need to take another step. I don't know if it's in him, but they need to find out, and they need to find out fast.
Welcome back to Enough Said. The Wall Street Journal exposes the world's biggest social network by doing a series called the Facebook Files. The reports are based on internal documents from Facebook and interviews with former and current employees. Among some of the findings, Facebook knew girls on Instagram in large numbers were reporting that the app was hurting their body image and mental health. And celebrities and other influential users were treated differently when it comes to publishing controversial content. Dan?
Do you know if you are a member of XCheck?
I don't think I am. I haven't been on Facebook in a while. XCheck, it sounds like a great club, so you can do whatever you want.
XCheck is the elite. It's very exclusive, and those are the folks who, and by the way, apparently it wasn't that exclusive. Upwards of, and I think this was from the Wall Street Journal report
like
as
6
well.
million?
Almost 5.8 million people are on this XCheck list, which apparently, at least according to the allegations, means, you know, all those rules we have about what's okay and what lines are okay to cross and what they're not. You're grandfathered in because you're important.
Yeah.
And because, I guess, presumably, we feel like you make this whole thing a better profit maker for us. I'm not sure. If you want to know why I don't trust any of the monitoring and the censoring, it's because, in part of this, I don't trust the people who are doing it. I don't trust their consistency about what subject matters they get into and what they leave alone. And now we come to find out, like I said, if there's any truth to this, they basically said the rich and famous can get away with whatever. This is why people start being very suspicious of the quote-unquote elite.
Right.
Is it not?
It
is
is,
this sense of all this sanctimony in front of Congress about we've got certain rules in place and we're going to do a better job of policing. Well, unless you're rich and famous and we feel like we can make money off you, then you can we'll grandfather all your stupid things and even your things that go over the line that we've created for you and me, for everybody else.
Well, they can make money off them, but also we'd rather not deal with the bad publicity.
Exactly.
If we accidentally suspend somebody's account that has a lot of followers, that's rich and famous, that's going to be really bad PR for us, and we don't want any more bad PR. Two quotes from the study, and I read that Wall Street Journal one as well. Facebook routinely makes exceptions for powerful actors, which I love.
Yes.
And the best one is
routinely.
This is really all you need to know if you want to get it down to enough said. We're not actually doing what we say we do publicly. That's coming from inside.
Inside, their own
internal
study.
report, and they're going, you know, everything that we say, and when we go testify, and when we put out, we do interviews, and we say this is what we do at Facebook. We don't do that, and that might be a problem for us. Yeah, it is remarkable. Remarkable is the word.
It's the latest example of. I mean, we have these examples all the time, and the story looked pretty well reported, I have to say.
Big time.
And it goes back to these. They use these fancy words like algorithms, and this is what governs what we allow in and what we don't. And in the end, they're doing it the same way that so many companies have already done it, to say it all depends on whose ox is being gored. And if you're big enough and famous enough, our righteous indignation will go away. And it does in many cases.
Yeah.
And that's what builds resentment about corporations like this, who, on the one hand, try, as I say, to say we're cutting edge about doing the right thing. unless we think it's going to affect our bottom dollar or the person we're going to have to get rid of or investigate. Like you said, has 2 billion followers, whatever the case.
Well, then I might be naive.
It's just fraudulent.
Even when they appear to be trying to do the right thing, they still screw it up.
They do.
And then they blow it, and then they cover it up, and then they get in the meat grinder that they're in now.
Correct.
Again.
Enough said. Rapper and singer Nicki Minaj is making headlines on social media for a tweet about the COVID-19 vaccine. Stick with me here. She tweeted her cousin's friend's fiance left him after he had health issues from the vaccine. Minaj has made it known that she's.
You don't want to get into the health issues?
I was going to let you guys go there. Let's say reproductive issues.
I think if you want to get scientific, the term is orchitis.
Orchitis?
Orchitis.
Okay.
And that way you feel safe that you're not being too graphic.
Yeah, look it up.
Just check it. Just Google it. Yeah.
So she's not vaccinated. But anyway, this has just it's blown up so much that even the White House has offered a call with Minaj with a doctor to debunk this myth. Justin.
I don't know what to say. I mean, the fact that Dr. Fauci, who I know he hasn't been perfect, and I know he's made some mistakes, and I know he's a lightning
Better
rod.
acknowledge that, or you're going to get emails.
I know, that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Even though I'm Team Fauci. I trust most of what Fauci has to say.
You're a Fauci-obo.
That he has to deal with what you call, and what is called orchitis, if you want to use the scientific term. The fact that he's got to go out there, there's got to be days where he takes the tie off and go, what have I done with my life? Why did I agree to do this? And because how many of these have we had? These crazy scenarios, these crazy things, and Nicki Minaj now talking about, as Lori said, her cousin's friend's boyfriend, whatever it was, having reproductive issues, and that's why I'm not going with the vaccine.
Part of my, by the way, I once had in a major national Sugar Bowl press conference, I had to explain orchitis to a bunch of reporters. That's a long story. We'll tell it a different day. I was very careful about, well, I think there's something in the groin area that I was very careful about it. Nevertheless.
Good for you.
Let me ask you a question. I'll ask Lori a question. Why do we care about what Nicki Minaj says?
That's a good question.
Why do we have the White House make this invitation? Why does Fauci speak to it? Why do endless media outlets turn this into segments that everybody already knows the answer to?
Because she is a role model to many people, Dan.
That's what he's rebelling
the fatal
against.
flaw.
That's the problem.
You know why she is? She's convinced she is because we have elevated her by turning this into a story. There's a million celebs. Some of them are going to say stupid things. This goes on and on forever. The idea that we seize upon this, the notion that if we turn the tables on Nicki, then the people who are on the fence on this issue and who wondered actually if their testicles were going to swell up, they'll be, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
Those folks aren't going to be listening to any of these corrections anyway. And again, she's just a celebrity. She's not a scientist. She's not a doctor.
Clearly.
So the more time we spend on this, and the media does, to me, the more you elevate her to a place of far greater importance than she should ever have. That's my issue.
Orchitis.
Hashtag Ballgate. That's what it is if you want to.
Hashtag.
Wow.
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 Okay.
So she went from tiptoeing around and jumping right into the pool. My goodness.
She got emboldened a little bit.
Comedian Norm Macdonald passed away this week after a private battle with cancer. He was 61 years old, most well known for his skits on Saturday Night Live. Once upon a time, he wrote for the sitcom Roseanne and was quite the stand-up comedian. When he came to Fox 9, he made us all feel very awkward. And as I'm learning to hear more stories about him, that was his shtick, like to make you feel very awkward, Dan.
Well, he's the way I would put it is, I don't think I was a big fan of his humor.
Yep.
And it was quirky, and it could be off-putting. And there are times where you go, that didn't go anywhere. I wouldn't want like a million Norm Macdonalds. You know, I think there'd be too many. One, was very good. I mean, because he kind of cornered the market on a sort of different kind of quirky comedy. We talked about it on the radio a lot. Also a fearless comedy where he did not care how it was going to be received and what the boundaries were and how far you're supposed to go. He was able to sort of, rise above all that sort of criticism or just not pay attention to it. So I wouldn't want to see him every day, I don't think. I want to see his stand-up every day. And I wouldn't want to see a lot of guys try to emulate him because it's pretty hard to emulate. But he was so unique, and that's what, it's like, okay, one was enough, but he was really, really good at it.
And Lori
really
mentioned
good at it.
The awkwardness. That's my number one note.
Yes.
Besides fearless, that's the word for it. He lived in the awkwardness. He loved the awkwardness. He was comfortable in the awkwardness. He didn't care if a joke didn't land.
Right.
if a joke made you groan or moan or go, oh my gosh, I can't believe you went there. He liked being in the mud, it seemed like. And with all the different comedians, if you watch him with Jerry Seinfeld and Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, if you watch him with David Letterman, I think people that did ascend to greater comedic heights, like those are two titans of industry, right? I think in a way they kind of they loved being around Norm because he could say stuff that they couldn't say.
Correct.
Norm didn't have as much to lose. You can argue that all the OJ jokes did cost him his Saturday Night Live job, right? I mean, that was probably the pinnacle of his career.
That's what he alleged.
That's the rumor. But he was fearless in that regard, and even if it cost him a job, if it cost him more opportunities, he didn't care. And he was.
It's the Friday night lightning round. Let's hit it.
Everybody's waiting for it.
I know.
Can I wear my glasses for the lightning round, or is it too much reflection?
I don't know. Let's give it a shot.
Try it.
All right, we'll try it.
Okay. Minnesota State Auditor Julie Baja is getting attention for her morning drink. She accidentally put Mountain Dew once in her coffee and ended up really liking it. Governor Wells tweeted, "Why ruin a perfectly cup of morning dew by adding coffee?" I vote gross. You guys?
Yeah, there's only one answer for this. And you know me.
Such a polarizing subject.
I know it is. I can't believe we're leading with it.
It's very controversial. Yeah.
You know me, I love combining
everything. Do we even have to argue over this?
No, we don't.
Actually, it's probably easier because there's not as much at stake.
Mountain Dew is great.
I don't like Mountain Dew at all.
Leave them alone. Oh, Mountain Dew is tremendous.
Can't stand Mountain Dew.
Well, then we could argue.
I was kind of craving a Mountain Dew.
Incredible.
I don't think I've had one since like 1999.
That's about right.
Are either of you latte drinkers? You're not, right?
No.
I'm the only latte drinker of the three.
Plain
Clogs,
coffee.
candles, the whole bit.
We know there's supply chain issues for a lot of things, but it sounds like this year it's artificial Christmas trees. Some fake trees with lights can go for as much as $1,000. Wow. It's a big business. I wanted to know, are you guys real or fake? I am 100% real tree.
We're both.
Yeah.
We've gone that route. I'm big on real as the big main tree.
Yep.
And then a couple other
You have an
rooms,
auxiliary
the
tree?
Kid, you know,
The auxiliary trees?
So yeah, I kind of a combo platter. But I generally, I still believe in having one that's real because I can't do without the smell.
I would be, if I had a vote, and I don't, artificial.
Because of all the mess.
Just in general, the going to
But
get
that
it,
smell.
finding it, paying $100 a year or whatever. And now with supply and demand, now these trees are probably going to be like $500, are they not?
That's true.
If we're running out of real trees, you think they're just going to give us
Why are we running out of real trees? What happened?
I don't know. That's what we need to find out. Where's Tom Lydon?
Lydon get all over the
investigative story.
According to Money Magazine, Chanhassen is the #1 best place to live. Woodbury and Rosemont also made it the top 50, but they say the writers credit Chanhassen's small town atmosphere, big city proximity, home to the late Prince and the Arboretum. And the dinner theater.
Are they getting points because of Paisley Park?
I don't understand. I mean, Chaney has basically finished strong in a number of years,
community.
right?
Yeah.
So was it sort of like, okay, we're not #1, so give us the list of what we have to do to ascend?
And they did it.
And did they do it? Did
They
they cave in on issues that really aren't all that important, but it's all about winning the big prize?
I will say it's a nice spot. It's a nice place.
It's very nice.
Highway 5's got all the restaurants you could possibly want. Good parks.
I still think it'd be more exotic if you called it Chanhassen. I think
Last-
that sounds more continental.
What about
Last but not least.
Yes. Oh, you got another one?
Our own Justin Gaard.
Whoa.
The voice of Gopher women's basketball. Congratulations. Another job for you to do. Do not forget about us, Justin.
Well,
how about the radio gig?
As Lori, as you once said, enough said is just a sliver of what you do every day.
And now it's you.
Now this is just a sliver of what I do every day.
I'm starting to get more worried.
I
think it's going to your head.
I don't think it is.
I
think now I'm terrified.
This resume is just
now
so
I got
long.
it. Great response from everybody. Now I actually have to do it. The easy part was getting the job.
It.
I know.
I hope
What's
you
your
have a
style
planner.
going to be? If we had to pick?
I think it's going to be understated, but I don't know.
Al Michaels?
Yeah, sure.
You go with that.
Yeah,
right?
I would take Al Michaels.
But you got to have some of those big sayings ready to go just in case.
I'm going to
Although
call
it's
Craig
supposed
Kilborn.
to be organic.
Yeah, I know.
You're supposed to wait for those moments. I hope the women's basketball team is good enough to happen.